Jai Satchidanand, Jai Jinendra. Generally, what is our observation? The world where we live in, do we find it holistic? What is it? What is our experience? No response? The world where we live in, do we find is it holistic? Is it impartial? Is it wholesome? Is it complete? Is it all inclusive? The house, the home where we live in with our family people, are we together? Don't you say that. We are together. We are together. So here is where we want to throw some light that we don't experience holism, but the absolutes, Tirthankaras, Arhat, and Gnani Purusha, they have definitely experienced holism, and that's how they pass the message of oneness to the world. So we are going to evaluate that what we perceive, understand, and experience is the divided society, we are divided, but all those great people, they never experienced that. So here lies the importance of knowing that holistic science, which is by virtue of vision, that is understanding that science which is working within all of us, but we are not aware of that. As religious followers, we are following religion, but it is more ritualistic. And through such ritualistic following of religion, we naturally get divided. That is why there are different temples. There are different places of worship. They are not wrong. They are not wrong. That divisive element lies within us. That divisive element doesn't lie in the temple. Because temple as such doesn't contribute much as a physical entity. But humans play a vital role everywhere. So the human commodity needs to be understood very precisely, that how it is complete in itself. And that is the reason, as we have known from living examples of those great people who could surpass all these limitations and attain that oneness. And their living example itself teaches us the lesson of oneness. So we may not be talking about one family, one world, but our life itself will reflect that oneness. So let us see a few evaluations. As for the holistic world we live in, the word holistic means where all questions end. Although we have a big question and answer session at the end, and we expect that people should come with questions, and we have answers to every question. So truly, we know very well, as followers of Jainism, and of course people who have known Radha Bhagavan, they have become, it's like all in one. Wherever they go, there is no problem. They follow rituals, but still they are away from ritual. Because that inner science has opened within them, And we have come here to share that science which is applicable to one and all. And the dictionary meaning of holistic says that it is all inclusive, complete, whole, universal, one. Let us first understand the fundamental principle of this holistic inner science, what we are going to talk about. It says, ask for discrimination-free vision, which ultimately leads to oneness. That is why these doctors say that it doesn't matter whether you are Hindu, you are Christian, what religion you follow, but if I need blood, I can take from anyone. Some people may have some limitations, like I will only take blood from my religious friend or like that. And it leads, finally, one becomes perfectly humble. One who is humble, for him, every individual is a master for him, is a teacher for him. And humble is one who wants to learn from everyone. So the holistic science makes one 100% humble. Now let us see, how is this world puzzle for us? And what would or how would it make the world as holistic for me? Because those great people, they experienced. Today what we see in the world, nobody is at peace. The richest person, the poorest person, everyone is in trouble. Competition is there everywhere. Even in spirituality, in religious order, we definitely see competition. Everyone wants to claim dominance, everyone wants to claim that we are the best. And not religion, but individuals also want to claim that I am the best. There is mad hunt for wealth, pride and position. Everyone experiences that. Now the word holistic means complete, perfect and all that. It was experienced by the absolute, that is Arhat, one who has become perfect, and Tirthankaras who are instrumental for the welfare of so many people. We already know the last Tirthankara of this half cycle, Lord Mahavira, who attained perfection almost 2600 years back. Just we have to think that how could he surpass all these vices of the world and attain freedom from the vicious cycle of life and death? We experienced the other side of the world, and he could free himself and attain completeness. Similar was the experience of Srimad Rajchandraji, Dada Bhagwan and now Kanuda Reddy, and they also revealed to the world the same holistic science. So, we are living in the world what we experience, division, competition, fight, chaos, and these people, they could experience peace, happiness, completeness, no divisive attitude within them. What was that? So, let us see that. Dada Bhagwan has stated that Lord Mahavira was the greatest scientist of this era. And a scientist, as a scientist, cannot be partial. He never claimed himself that I am Jain. He never spread the religion of Jainism. Not because I am not Jain, but this is what I have understood from the Master. That no God can be identified by any religion. Though people who follow that God, they get into that box of a religion. But that is not the problem of that God. Lord Krishna never preached Vaishnavism. Lord Rama never preached Hinduism. They could accept everyone as they were. But we are not able to accept people. So we need to know that holistic science. So they didn't go out of this world to understand this oneness. They lived among ourselves. They lived among us and showed that, see, I am the living example. And if you want to attain the same peace, happiness and oneness, if you know how I view the world, that vision was given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. That vision was given by Lord Mahavira to Gautam Swami. These are the very fortunate ones who had that opportunity to know the vision of these great people. They lived their life like that and they attained perfection. They came out of the vicious cycle of life and death. And we are struggling from years together, maybe from lives together. Our master used to say that, we all have been with Lord Mahavira, but we didn't listen to what he said. We heard him and we interpreted what he said as per our understanding. And that is why we are still wandering. So, what is needed is, if we know their heart, what was there in their vision, then we will also perceive this same world as holistic, as complete. One of the utterance and revelation what a holistic scientist has said, that the world is the puzzle itself. Though Dr. Mehta has brought out very nicely, and there are two viewpoints to solve this puzzle. Say one relative and the other is real. See, when I came into this world, I didn't come with a name. I was given a name, and an ID was given to me for identification that, okay, you will be called as Deepak. So I used to say that my name is Deepak. But when I grew up, looking around, coming around with people, coming into contact with people, somehow I gathered that understanding, because everyone claims, I am so and so, I am so and so, I am so and so. So on one side, I said, my name is Deepak. On the other side, I also said that I am Deepak. And with that, the puzzle began. And it went into such terrible cycle, vicious cycle. Our master identified this first belief that I am Deepak as the biggest blunder of my life. We may not accept that, but that is where we began. And see how it ended. I started committing a bunch of mistakes. I am a boy. I am a man. I am Hindu because I am born in a Hindu family. I am a Vaishnava. I am born in a Vaishnava family. I am a Jain, born in a Jain family. I am Christian. So on. I am Indian. I am American. Few years back you were saying I am Indian. We Indians do like this. But there are people who have become American by accepting the citizenship of America. They don't say that we are Indian. And if you are in a government job, in a responsible position, you cannot dare to say that I am Indian. Because there was one interview that I happened to listen to, and he was an Indian, and the interview was taken by an Indian, and during his explanation he was saying that we in America and all like that. He said, so he was asked that you have been saying like that during the course of the interview. Don't you feel anything? He said, no. I have accepted citizenship of America So now I am an American. So there's nothing wrong in it. So the belief part. I'm young, I'm old, I'm beautiful, I'm not beautiful, I'm sick, I'm healthy, I'm upset. Oh, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, very famous doctor. I'm a celebrity now. My name changed from Deepak to Deepakanandji, and they put a prefix also, Swami Deepakanandji. So that is enough to boost my pride and think myself, I'm a Swami. But it's like how we talk of wisdom, that as the plants grow and as the fruits grow, they lean down. Teaching us that as we grow, we should become more humble. But most of the Swamis, if you interact with them, then they speak. So the changing ID. Lord Mahavira was not like that. Lord Krishna was not like that. Lord Rama was not like that. Christ was not like that. Lord Christ was also not like that. Why? Here we have to understand what was there in that vision. And if we get that vision, we are done. Then it doesn't matter where we were born, what we studied. So, over the period of time, we started claiming doership. When we succeed, I will claim I did it. Of course, it was out of my hard work and whatnot that I could attain that, I could fulfill that. But what when I fail? I will always find someone. I have all the excuses in the world to say that I had put all my effort, but because of that, so and so, so and so, so and so, and I did not spare even God. But maybe God was not very happy with me, and that is why this thing happened. Of all the person, the stars in the sky who never come down and bother us, we at times blame the stars also that my stars were not favorable. See the tragedy. But what is the truth? The truth is that we got to know who runs this world. How does this thing happen? So the holistic scientist has revealed another truth, another fact of life. God is creator of this world, yes, by Christian's viewpoint, by Hindu viewpoint, by Muslim viewpoint, but not by fact. The fact is only scientific circumstantial evidence. Now we need to understand the scientific circumstantial evidence also. Through an example, we'll see that. Let us say, we will try to understand that if I have to buy something, I cannot go in the jungle and buy. Because there is nothing in the jungle. There are animals and plants and trees and wilderness. So I will go to a marketplace where I find my stuff. There is a thief also who is looking for his clients, his customers. Where will he go? He cannot go into a jungle because he won't find anyone there. So he will also go to a marketplace only, looking for his customers. And he is moving around. He is coming across so many people. Now what is that factor which gives him inspiration that, okay, be after this guy? This is where our karmic connection is there, and that inspiration makes him follow probably me who has gone to buy something there. I may say that why only me? But that connection is there, that subtle connection is there, due to which I get connected to the thief. And then, let us see what happens. If he succeeds in stealing anything from me, then it was my account. As per that karmic account, that was my bad deeds which I had done out of mistake previously, which made me lose that stuff. And he was fortunate enough to get a big grab, because today he will have that and enjoy for the day. What will happen tomorrow is a different story. If he gets caught and all that stuff is a different story. But today he will enjoy. So if I have to find out who is at fault, the normal worldly understanding is, of course, the thief is at fault. Then holistic science asks for another question. Okay, if it was the thief's fault, who is suffering now? And who is enjoying now? People say, of course, the thief is enjoying now. But who is suffering? Man, I am suffering. If I am suffering, how could it be the thief's fault? So, that mistake which was committed by me previously, which caused this karma, and the result of that karma was this action of the thief, which ended into a success for him. This is where we have to understand. This is how the deeds get settled. Be at home, wherever we meet people, this is how the transactions take place between individuals. And this is how the world operates. This is how the world functions. So, where do you need the God in it? Anywhere to do anything. Someone say, God gave me inspiration to do this. It was God's inspiration, that's how I did. No. If God gives me that inspiration, then that's not the function of God. That's not the function of God. So my karmas are responsible for the inspiration what I get. And others also. And of course, God's function is definitely there. What does the God do? In His very divine light, all these transactions of settlement of deeds take place. There is a participation, but it is not active participation. It is passive participation. Simply in the presence of the God's light. Imagine if there is no electricity, the lights are off, the microphone system is not working, we will be upset. We cannot do that. So, the mere presence of the God light within us make us work as per our karma, and all our life's circumstances, the exchanges, the happening are nothing but karmic exchange, that's all. And that is totally physical. It has nothing to do with the God factor at all. But the presence of that light is inevitable. So the world is operated by scientific circumstantial evidences. The world understands the language of circumstantial evidences, but why the holistic science says scientific? The reason is those evidences which are not present, but they are working behind the curtain, and that acts as an evidence for that thing to happen. So that's how the world. So whatever he talked about, even doctors talked about bhav. Dr. Mehta also talked about bhav. So the bhav, what we feel, what we project, goes into the nature, like how we have a computer storage. We talk about the cloud nowadays. So, but the cloud is man-made. This is not man-made. Someone can grab our stuff from that cloud and put us in trouble. It is very much. We are not aware of the security or who is investigating what stuff we put over there. But here, nobody can hack this system. Someone who has done any inner projection, nobody knows about that. He will get the result of his projection. So, this is a wonderful system of nature. But here, the God factor is totally separate. So once we understand the responsibility of our projection, we will always take care and be very much aware of our projections. What Dr. Mehta very well explained. We already talked about the sufferer at fault. In fact, the deeds gets caused by our own inner mental, egoistic, dual-ship projection positive or negative. So just imagine that this law of sufferer is at fault is applicable irrespective of what religion you follow. So there are 1400,000 layers of humanity, and all those people, they come into this law, they fit into this law. So it is not necessary whether I am a Hindu or a Jain or a Muslim, the sufferer is at fault is the basic law. So in any situation, if we have to know who is at fault, look around, who is suffering the most is the person who has committed the maximum fault. And if you haven't done any, not committed any fault, you cannot suffer. That's how Lord Mahavira and all the absolutes, they realize this fact, experience this fact, they live this fact, and they stop reacting. And we still react, and due to which the karmic bond goes on and on. We will talk about now about 6 eternals, what the Jain scriptures talk about, I think so, the 9 elements. But as per the holistic science, there are only 6 eternals. Matter what we see is called Pudgal in the scriptural language. The soul as divine light is the second eternal. Space is also a perpetual eternal. Motion, that is that element which assists in motion, which moves us from one place to another. And if you are moving, if there is no inertia or that element which stops the motion, will keep moving all the time. So it is the playing around of the motion and inertia that we keep moving, and that's how we live our life. And the time factor, why it is said as a non-physical entity? Because there is no definite entity as such as time, but it is totally conceptual. We can go into it in detail, but this is how. So if we know the working of these 6 eternals, which is working in the universe, and which is working also within us, then knowing the working of those eternals within me, I will understand the working of the whole universe. The one what we see around is indefinitely playing out of the 6 eternals only. They are indestructible and inexhaustible in nature. So when I win, just imagine if I get some money, then someone else somewhere is losing money. And if I'm losing money, so if we lose money, sometimes you need not feel bad that okay, someone else has got benefited if I have lost money. It is like one way to look at it. It's like if 2 brothers are there and one brother loses, the other brother wins, then it's like we say that okay, it is there in the same house. The money hasn't gone out. So it's like the money hasn't gone out of this world. But when you lose money and the related trouble what you have to face through is part of our destiny. So the money factor doesn't want to stay or go away from anyone, but it is the destiny or the karmic part which brings the money and which takes the money away from us. So if we want to understand the bottom line of life, and if we want to look around what we should look around, as Srimad Rajchandraji has said, wherever you look for the suffering only. But we look at the manifestation. That is where we get lost. So if we learn to see suffering, then we will not see any kind of manifestation. So whatever we see, whenever we see, it is nothing but suffering, suffering and suffering only. So this is what we have learned in physics. Matter is indestructible, but it gets transferred from one state to another. People say that the soul wanders. Yeah. People say that the soul wanders. The soul never wanders. We say that the soul is in bondage. The soul is not bound. The soul is as free as ever. It is said, as per the scriptures, it is said that in Nigol there are infinite unidentified lives in massive karmic bond, and that soul which is there in those lives is as free as those liberated siddhas only. So, truly speaking, who is suffering, who is wandering? It is egoism that gets born, and it is egoism that dies, and it is egoism that wanders. This is a great revelation. So many times we keep saying, my soul is suffering, my soul is in bondage. No, if the soul is in bondage, why am I suffering? And because I am suffering, it is I who believe as I am Deepak, or now Deepakanandji Swami, who is in trouble. So it is egoism that suffers, and if I identify myself through that self-realization process, so that's what we want to know, that I have been claiming myself that I am Deepakanandji Swami, but when I realize through self-realization, when I come across an enlightened soul and realize myself that I am that pure soul, we talk, I am Atman, but then we talk that I am Atman. If you realize, because we have realized the fact that I am Deepak, I am Deepakanand. That is why if anyone calls and shouts by name Deepak, immediately my attention would go there. But if they talk about Shailashanandi, then no response from my side. Then I'll definitely say, oh, you're not calling me, you're calling Shailashanandi. See, that is what it means, that realization is there by my name. And when I realize this, that I am pure soul, through that realization, then if anything happened to me out of my karmic results, I won't get affected at all. So that is the process. All these great people, they pass through difficult situations in their life, much, much worse than ours, and still they could free themselves because of this realization only. So, the perpetual pure soul is where once I realize that, I get to know my liberated state. So, while dispensing the karmas, I live my life with that separation. So, whatever happens to Deepak and his body and his mind and his speech, it doesn't affect me. It's like I see as separate as I see Vijay and me. But that separation is not realized and experienced when it is not passed through that realization. And it is the beauty of that realization through grace of a fully enlightened soul that self-realization works, that separation is experienced, you get away with your karma, which Lord Mahavira passed through so easily without building new karma, without having new projection. That's how he got free. And that is what the message he said, that if you know this holistic science, then you will start living your life with this compassion, with this bliss, with this inner happiness, and it will never go. And this realized state remains even in your sleep. This is the best part. So, when a person dies, all through his life, through his physical body, through his projection, he creates new causes through egoistic projections, and at the end of the life, the physical body remains, which people dispose of the way they have understood or they believe, and from the body, the soul, the subtle body, what we call as electrical body, and along with the causal body, and depending on that causal body, we get a new body. And the best part of that is, like how we have a rubber band, you connect here, once it gets connected at the other end, it snaps out from this place. That's how it works. And that's how we wander. That is, the egoism wanders. But one who has realized that I'm not that egoism, I'm not Deepak, and that's where my journey towards liberation, the liberated state, moksha and nirvana happens naturally. So, all this experience of science is not possible without the living presence of the living example of holistic science. Lord Mahavira gave the same message to Gautam Swami, but Gautam Swami was fortunate enough to have Lord Mahavira. Parth, Arjuna was very fortunate to have Lord Krishna. Hanumanji was very fortunate to have Lord Rama, because a living example was there in front of him. He learned, he understood, he imbibed that knowledge, he lived that knowledge, experienced that knowledge, and they got liberated. So, here is a founder, holistic scientist. He said that I am not teaching or preaching anything which is different from Lord Mahavira, or Lord Rushamdeva, or Lord Rama, or Lord Krishna. Because for all times, as Dr. Mehta has said, the science never changes. But the method, depending on the situation of the world, the method changes. And the method, what he has said, was identified as Akram Vignan, but truly it is Vitrag Vignan, which makes us totally 100% impartial. And he is today's holistic scientist who is there in California today. Just because of his ailing back, he is not able to come. But this is the thing. Jai Sachidanand.